What's up, everybody? Just checking in from the Upstart office. I just wanted to do a little update because I've actually had a couple people ask me or mention sort of indirectly that they missed the podcast, and we hadn't. It's not dead, I guess. It's just we've all been working on stuff, even through the lockdown. Actually, the lockdown was beneficial in a lot of ways. It's weird to say that, and I actually had a long talk with Debbie about this because I kind of felt guilty because I actually seemed to thrive in that situation because it gave me some breathing room, which I really hadn't had since literally this time last year. Because last year we went to Disneyland for Reagan's birthday, which her birthday was yesterday. Yesterday was her 8th birthday. Last year, obviously, her 7th. But because we were there, after we did the Disneyland thing, we started having our first sort of in-person pre-production meetings and table readings for Mystery Spot. And then it was just go from there. It actually started a little bit before that. But, I mean, from there to now, it's pretty much been nonstop. But when the pandemic happened, when things really started getting locked down, that forced brakes on a lot of things. And at the same time, like, nothing I did really stopped. Like, I was still editing the movie at that time. We were able to come to, sorry, I'm super sweaty. I actually just dropped my car off at the shop to get an oil change, and I walked back, so it's super hot. Anyway, I took that time to, we honed in the edit, and worked on a few other things, but I also had other work that I was doing that actually ramped up because everybody was kind of moving to online video delivery type stuff. So it just kind of didn't stop. But because a lot of other people in the world, it was kind of what I explained to people as, it was kind of like an extended Christmas, or like that time between Thanksgiving and Christmas where people are working, but they're not it's low stakes because you're kind of like mentally checked out anyway. And I don't mean to belittle anybody's situation that like may not have a job or maybe in serious, dire straits or whatever, but that's definitely the vibe. So it allowed me, the upside to all that was it allowed me time to catch up and, catch up on stuff, both with work and mentally and financially as well. And I have made sure to try to help people where I could, and not just take my luck for granted, because I know not everybody is, as lucky as we were in this situation. Melanie's been working the whole time too. So anyway, circling back to the podcast, it would seem like I would have a lot to talk about and a lot of time to do it, but it just, not that there wasn't stuff happening, but it just kind of seems like, I wouldn't say boring and paperworky, but it's the kind of stuff that I don't think would be very compelling to discuss on the podcast. I don't, maybe, and we probably will touch on it when we do another one. But it was just work a day, sort of grind, slow progress type stuff. Now, as of the last couple weeks, Greg and I had to figure out a way. Greg is our sound designer that's out in LA. We've worked with him on the last couple of movies, but we had to figure out a way to get everybody's ADR remotely, for him to control the transport there, record remotely, but also, like, we didn't want them going places, because everybody wants to kind of stay contained, which I understand. And I could have had people come in here to the office, and I was trying, I try to keep it clean and sanitized, but I also didn't, it's a whole office building that I'm in, so that kind of heightens your exposure a little bit. So I didn't want to put that on to people. Everybody was fairly cool about it, but we were trying to find another way, and we did find another way that's working very well. And actually it's working so well that now that we've got it working and we were able to do all the Houston people last week, we're doing the LA people this week, LA, Las Vegas, and then Greg is then shipping the setup out to Atlanta to get ADR on a couple of films that have been waiting for that, I think, pre-pandemic. So he's actually using it as his workflow now, which I think a lot of people are using this same program and setup. We just had to find a way to make it work for what we were doing. And fortunately we did. So I might talk about that a little bit. If you're in the same situation or need some info about how we got it to happen, feel free to message me. I'm happy to share and maybe walk you through it, because it took us, oh man, a good couple weeks of troubleshooting and like beta testing and trying to connect, and just we get one thing working and then a different thing would not work. But we finally got it all figured out, and got it figured out in a way to where we could send this thing around, and even the least technically adept person could get it going, and so it seems to be working fine. So that might, we might dig into that. Chris has been out in Columbus for coming up on 3 weeks on a production that's shooting for another 5 weeks for a TV series. So I'm sure he's going to have some stuff to talk about. They've had to be, it's a SAG production, so they have all the COVID, rules and restraints that they have to go by. And I think he's had to get tested every 3 days, which is making him miserable. So I'm sure he'll have a lot to talk about. I know Brittany went and worked on something for a little bit, so she'll probably have some stuff to talk about. I know it seems like we should just jump on Zoom and do an episode, but again, it's just, I guess I want to wait until we have a little more solid stuff. And because everything's been going so well for the most part, I don't really have anything to bitch about, which I'm not really interested in doing that anyway. So yeah, we'll do another one when we feel it, and I think it'll probably be fairly soon. But it's not something we've given up on. It's just that things have not, I guess, aligned in a lot of different ways for us to pull it off. But I would expect probably the first one we do to be some sort of Zoom thing, and I would like to, once we get Mystery Spot closer to getting done, which I would be surprised if it's not done by Labor Day, which would be a year exactly. We started shooting on Labor Day last year, because really it's just the audio, the ADR, score's done. Our colors, James is working on it right now. He had been working on it, then he had to put it on the back burner because he got an emergency gig, which was the Will Smith Shark Week show on Discovery. I think that it's airing tonight, if I'm not mistaken. But he got it. They asked him to do it like last Monday, and it was due for delivery on Friday to air tonight. So that just, because it was such a rush job, it was rush job money, and he's like, I can't turn it down. And I was like, I totally understand. Do what you need to do. I can't wait to see what you're doing with our movie. So that's happening too. Everything's moving along. Just not a whole bunch to talk about. So the usual stuff. I can't wait for it to get done. I'm super stoked about it. Even just watching it in its raw form, pre-sound mix with the score, just like laid in, not even mixed. I love it. It's my favorite thing I've ever done. Of course, there's a lot of me in it. There's a lot of all of us in it, and I can't wait for people to see it. Same within the Blood. We had a few screenings lined up, premieres and stuff, but of course all those festivals aren't happening. So we're kind of working on some other options, or we might just wait and see. There's no real rush. I know there's demand for stuff, for content, because everybody's stuck at home watching things. So you may see it that way before we do any kind of other major premiere. It just depends. I mean, it's weird time, so we'll see what happens. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. You can see I'm working. I'm doing YouTube stuff for a client over here, and at the same time, I'm watching the Cartoonist Kayfabe video about Chick Tracks over here. So that pretty much is a good slice of life as to what things have been like. Oh yeah, and Melanie and I are in the process of buying a house, so that's been eating up our time too. We've just done the inspection, and the sellers agreed to take care of pretty much all of our major issues, which weren't many. So everything looks good, and I think we will be closing on that by the end of the month. So that's happening too. So there's a lot going on, and add into that figuring out school, which starts around the same time, and everything else. So that's kind of the state of the union right now. Business as usual ish. We just haven't felt the need to check in, but stuff is for sure happening. And hopefully we'll get it together, and I'll get myself mentally organized enough to do some sort of a real podcast at some point soon, because there's slowly there's becoming a larger and larger pile of stuff to talk about. It's all good. It's all great, actually, as I look over at my whiteboard with all the stuff on it. So yeah, it's an exciting time, and I look forward to share. I love saying that monotone. It's an exciting time. It is, honestly. I'm just kind of tired. Yes, like I said, yesterday was Reagan's birthday, and we did her birthday celebration this weekend, so I'm still kind of feeling the effects of all that. I still can't believe I have an 8-year-old. I posted, it's weird, when I sign her card, love daddy or whatever, I want to sign my name. It's weird for me to sign daddy still, 8 years in. So it's crazy to me that I have an 8-year-old. And she's in a movie that I did that she's super excited about. We did do her ADR here, and she killed it. She loves that whole process, and she's already bugging me about being in whatever the next thing is. So we'll see how that goes. All right, just wanted to check in. Sorry it's kind of long-winded, but that's what's going on. Hope you guys are staying safe and staying well, and I will talk to you soon.